Welcome to a cloudy, overcast Birmingham, Alabama. We're getting ready for the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires track walk here at Protective Stadium, where it does not have a protective top or roof over the dome, and Mother Nature showed her powers. And I have a co-host, Heath Harrison from Phoenix Honda Racing, and the fact that you are from Alabama, that was the reason why I really wanted you to do this one. You can tell us all about the history here.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here in Alabama with my home state, and yeah, so it's cool. It's the first Supercross, official Supercross they've had here. They had the one back in 1984 at the Talladega Speedway, but it was kind of a one-off race, supposed to be like a Triple Crown sort of format, but they ended up not having the third round. So yeah, so the first official AMA Supercross here, Monster Energy AMA Supercross. So yeah, it's cool to be here. Unfortunately, it rained all day yesterday, but the Dirtworks crews did a great job, and yeah, they're pulling tarps now. So yeah, it should shape up to be a great day.
Yeah, we normally obviously shoot these on Friday afternoon, and the fact that we were not able to yesterday, it rained the entire time, track was covered. You can see right here, the tarps, these are between the starting grates, and it's 2, 3, 4 inches of standing water right here in front of the starting gate. They're getting ready to pull the tarps. We're right here in the middle, so you can kind of see the behind the scenes, what they've done. They've covered most of the track other than just a couple of sections out here on the starting line. And boy, it's something else.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy for sure. Like I said, the Dirtworks crews did a great job.
Yep.
Full length start we have here into a pretty tight 180 left for the first corner. So could be some action there. You never know how the dirt's gonna shape up, whether it's slick or if it ends up being tacky.
So Heath, let's talk about your career. You were a professional for 10 years. You turned pro, I think, in 2009 or
2010.
10, okay, yes, 10. 2009 was your Loretta Lynn's championship, right?
Correct, in the 4-stroke class. Was my last year there, and then yeah, didn't really have anything going into 2010 amateur-wise. So yeah, me, my parents, and some close friends all got together and said, hey, let's try to go make a living out of it, right? So yeah, fast forward 14 years. Yeah, here we are.
And think about the double duty that you do. I mean, the Phoenix Honda Racing had a lot of success in arena cross. Kyle Peters winning multiple championships, and you also run an off-road team, so you wear that hat for the GNCC series. I see you at those events.
Yep.
And then you're also a team manager here. But Phoenix Honda really had to step up this year when you've got a rider of Dylan Ferrandis' stature come over to your program. So how different has that been for you guys?
Yeah, it's been quite a big step for us as a team. It's been a pleasure to work with Dylan. He's been great. And having somebody of that caliber, that level of racer, that's a championship contender and has won 4 championships of himself. So no, it's been great. He's been great to work with. We still obviously focus on, like you said, arena cross with Kyle Peters. He's in a title fight right now of his own with that, going for his 5th consecutive championship. So hopefully he can wrap that up, and that'd be great. And then yeah, the off-road side as well, and we also have an ATV side. So
you're bailing out on me tomorrow. I'm driving 4 hours tonight to go to the eastern side of to Georgia, and go to Washington, Georgia for the general round of the GNCC. So I got a 3+ hour drive to the hotel, another hour to the track. So I'll be attending that tomorrow, plus losing an hour of sleep with time change. So I don't know what I signed up for, but it's kind of crazy. But so here we are coming into this first corner right here. As you can see, this is full length of the track. My stats man, Tim Kennedy, let me know here, 320 feet to the first corner. So this is longer than a football field, and this is quite a run in here. They left the track very, very flat, and they did kind of an adjustment. They made the call on Sunday, and then it was reiterated to the team managers during the meeting on Tuesday that it was going to be a mud modified track. Knowing that this weather was going to be here, we're supposed to get halfway decent weather, but it's cloudy, overcast, saturated. They've done the best they could to build the track, but this track is not going to have really hardcore whoops. It's because they just tear down in the mud. They're not going to have crazy length triples that people are expected to do. We're trying to make a track that they can still jump, instead of just when they have them too far, they end up just rolling them. Instead, they want them to jump, but it's going to be a different, a little different track, a little toned down, something that maybe the best riders in the world wouldn't necessarily feel like it's very difficult during dry conditions. But when you've got rain and wet like this, I mean, you can see this right here. I mean, this is, Derek, if you can zoom down, you can see, I mean, this is the red clay of this part of the country.
Yep.
And it is just soaked down to the base, so there's not much you can do here.
Yeah, no, it's really cool that the Dirt Works crew, and smart of them to make that call and have the team managers meeting and everybody come to an agreement on it. Like you said, obviously dry conditions, this track may be simple for like you're saying, the best guys in the industry, but yeah, look at Daytona. You never know what the weather's going to do. A storm cloud could pop up today, and then here comes the rain, you know. So no, it's very smart of them to do that, I believe. With how the conditions are as we stand, it's still going to be gnarly. There's going to be ruts everywhere. I don't think the guys would be doing the big rhythms either way.
Yep.
So for them to make that call was cool. They turned the big triples into doubles rather than the guys just rolling everything.
So right here, this is the transition, the pocket. You can show here, if Derek, you can zoom out there a little bit, the camera. You can see this whole section all the way across 2 lanes of track. The water is actually flowing as a little creek right here. It's coming off the track. They're doing their best to get it off. I'm sure they'll have equipment here. But the way the layup set up on this, I think they're going to come out, wheelie the first one, hit this, and jump this. So when they're putting the seams, the plastic on the track, and the seams are where the water just finds a way in through, it's okay to be in the position if most of the time, and the riders will not be landing in this transition, they'll be going over it. But again, there's only so much that can be accomplished when you have rain coming down. I know they had many inches of rain here, and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, no, it's cool how they're able to kind of visualize and see how the track's going to develop that way. Obviously, you can see here in the next transition where they would be landing, it's muddy as well. But assuming they had planned on the guys going triple all the way over to here, and then you can see this one's not near as bad. So
right, and
they do
a wider pocket.
Correct. They do take that in consideration. Right. So yeah, I don't personally see them going triple to here today. But you never know. That's why those guys get the big bucks, right?
Right. Well, this we're going back schedule-wise. We're going back to the traditional, where the 250s are going to be the first heats of the night.
Yep.
We've tried that for TV reasons. They wanted to have the big boys right off the bat, capture that audience on TV, and then let them watch all the way to the end. So now we're back to what we've always known: 250s first, go right into the normal program. So first couple of practice sessions ought to be pretty quick until the track gets beat up.
Yeah, and I don't know, they already cut out free practice for the day, so I don't know if they'll just tame it down to just one qualifying practice. We'll just have to see, but yeah, I'm a fan of the traditional way with 250s first. It gives, especially we don't have a 250 guy, Cullen Park got hurt, but
look at this, look at that. So you can turn around right here, see Alex Gillespie right there working the Dirt Works crew. He's trying to clean up that pocket, and underneath the base is actually kind of firm. If they can get that top slop off and get it off the track, you see it just rushing down here. So this is some messy stuff. So speaking of 250s, you guys had Cullen Park.
We had
said
Cullen
he's
Park
hurt
starting the season. Unfortunately got hurt, dislocated his wrist. So we're down to just Dylan for the rest of the season. But yeah, that's why I think I prefer the traditional way better, because at Detroit, I believe they did 450s first, 250s second.
Yep.
Cullen had a few crashes and ended up having to go to the LCQ. So with how quick the turnaround was, if you had any sort of bike issue or anything, it was tough. But especially for conditions like this.
I felt like they should have swapped those LCQs, because they gave them about an extra 10 minutes or so. I didn't like having that 250 guys having to ride LCQ and then go right to the starting line for the main.
Yeah, literally, Cullen came off after the LCQ and didn't even go back.
Hey, when I'm king someday, I'll change that.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, but I do understand wanting to run the 450s first just to capture the audience. So speaking of 250s, wow, what a series we've had. We have, right now, the top 3 in the point standings. There are no winners in the top 3 in the point standings.
And they're only 1 point apart.
We have 3 guys, top 3, 1 point separates first through third. And none of those riders have won a main event yet.
Yeah.
So it is pretty interesting. We've got Hayden Deegan, obviously. We've got Faulkner. And then we had last week Tom Vial winning his very first Supercross. And it's apropos that it came to the fact that he would have done it at Daytona, the most outdoors track that we have on the circuit. So, since he's an MXGP rider at heart, right?
Right. So. And that's where he may excel today as well, if the conditions shape up to be as muddy as we're thinking.
Yeah, it could be. Well, speaking of muddy conditions, the last time we had a really, really muddy condition, your rider, Dylan Ferrandis, won in one of the qualifying heat races.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
Big moment for Dylan. That was his first 450 heat race win.
Yep.
Obviously our first heat race win as a team.
Yep.
And then the main event, he was really confident going in. thought he could win that night, and unfortunately went down first turn, but came back to 6th, I believe. So
yeah.
Still an impressive
So
ride.
when we passed right there, I didn't want to try to talk and explain, but they removed the center jump there. I think the original track map showed a triple right there. You can turn back and see where Alex is sitting in the little Bobcat style tractor. That was originally a triple there, and I think they shortened it up a little bit and just made it a double. So if a rider has to go over single, you know, we don't have a rider coming up when somebody's jumping over the top, and who knows again what the conditions are going to end up by the end of the night. And then into here like a 45-degree turn, and where we're coming here is right back across the starting line. And the crew is working hard trying to get this water off, but you can see it's really got some saturation to where there's actually clear water puddles in the footprints. So you know there's nothing absorbing and going down through the dirt here. It's kind of sealed off with a stadium floor. But this stadium is kind of new. It was really, construction started in 2019. I'm sure with the COVID, hit in the middle of all that, they finished for the 2021 season. So I think it's the University of Alabama at Birmingham who plays here, football stadiums, right?
The Blazers, I believe it is.
The Blazers, there you go. Well, speaking of Alabama, I know your mom went to Alabama, the Alabama.
Yeah,
so
University of Alabama.
I bet she must like the fact that you have red on your uniform, huh?
She may show up with it on herself, you never know.
Yeah.
So.
Instead of having Honda on it, she's gonna have red. So we're gonna bypass this pond unless you brought a fishing pole. But Corey's over here trying to push all this out. What a mess we got here, huh?
And this is the stuff, Broc, that's tricky because they just push it off the side, and then it never really dries out because it just seeps underneath the dirt.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do as a rider, let's say you get pushed off and punted off here, you end up out here, and he pushes all that out here, and you end up in that.
It's game over.
Yeah, it might be game over, you're walking back.
Yeah.
So out of this 180 right here, pretty simple, on, tabletop, and off. So not getting to overly detailed, but the pocket's wet. The rest of this is totally dry. I mean, this is like normal Supercross right here.
Yeah, this may be some of the trickiest part is getting from the roller to this tabletop, though, with how muddy and wet that corner is. So getting wheel spin or whatever they may get to get onto here. Once they're here, then the rest is easy. But getting from that corner up onto here is going to be tough.
It is. So up onto here, nice firm, and you got to get launched off here. I don't think anyone's going to want to downside this and land through here unless they don't get the run out of that 180, that bull corner there. So stay up. There you go, man. All right.
Maybe getting off the hard part, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now we're going back onto the starting line, and this is going to be kind of a fun section, I think. I can't wait to watch and practice because they've cut the first free practice out of the schedule to give the crew time to get the track going and in the best condition they can. They have just immediately into 2 qualifying sessions, but when they come out here onto the starting line right here, you're going counter course right on the start, big wide area. And I don't really think, I heard they weren't gonna divide it off. I hope they just let it get as wide as it needs to get. But here is your corner where the wider you go, the further ground you cover, and the tighter you go, obviously, the shorter the distance is, but you can't carry as much speed. So into here, right into the final corner, and we might see some stuffing going on.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity, especially if they don't cut any of this start straight off and let the guys go as wide as they want, because then they can square it back up and just meet the next guy at the end of the corner here. So,
yeah, a little impact zone.
Yeah, it's,
but you can see this right here. I mean, Derek, you can see Heath and my shoes. I mean, we're over the top already, and these are just full of water. There's nowhere for the water to go, so they're going to have to scrape it and hope that it dries.
And sections like this too, even for qualifying, sometimes they put the transponder mark right here at the bottom of the face.
Right.
So guys, they'll do the finish line on their starting their fast lap, and then just chop the whole corner just to get to the line, just to get a fast time.
And you see that in qualifying a lot. They race, like you said, come in tight, race right to here, and if the transponder wire's underneath here, they just run to here, and then they just roll the
It'll mess up
there.
Their next lap, but hey, if it puts you to the top,
that's what they're after.
Right?
Well, speaking of putting to the top, I'm going to try to get up this thing without falling down. Whoops.
Got her?
Barely. God. Here, you got a hold of it. There you go. All right. trying to do it backwards with paper in my hand. So, finish line jump, a little closer than normal. Doesn't look as scary from standing up here from looking at these as Justin Brayton always talked about goggles. He says through the goggles it's not as scary. When you walk around the track just like this, you think, well, that's a long ways.
Yeah.
So once you put the helmet and goggles on, it always seems closer.
It's a bit opposite for me. I'd rather look at it from right here than through the goggles.
Oh, really? That's funny. Not me either. I never liked watching track and watching practice. Seemed too far.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially on those dinosaur bikes we rode.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So we're. So it's pretty cool to have in the races come back to Alabama. Again, we've had some races here again, 72, 73. They had part of the old motocross. I think back in those days, they had big piece of wood, little debris, but I think they had 24 the first year in 72 and 28 races throughout the year.
Yeah.
And that Talladega race was kind of part of the motocross championship. But as we all know, we're celebrating 50 years of Supercross. First official Supercross championship, and the term Supercross really recognized by the AMA as a full championship was 74. So the 72, 73 Talladegas, although they were 250 and 500 races, I think the first one was won by Gary Bailey on the 250 class, and I think Brad Lackey won the 500s. And the following year, I believe it was Gary Jones and Pierre Karsmakers. So they won those races at Talladega Speedway. But again, they weren't Supercrosses as we know Supercross.
Right.
So, and again, the 84, we talked about that. That was part of that Triple Crown. When your series champion, Johnny O'Mara, doesn't bother racing the race.
Or yourself, right?
Yeah, a little side note about that. We raced David Bailey, myself, Johnny O'Mara, and Rick Johnson, and Danny Laporte were all the original riders who did the Paris-Bercy Supercross. We raced it during that week.
That was the first one ever, correct?
And Johnny O'Mara and myself and Rick, we all flew to the West Coast. And David flew here to support his dad, his stepdad, Gary, was building the track. So David rode it on a CR250, I think some production bike he might have borrowed.
Yeah.
He told me he put some forks on it. Maybe he brought them back from Bercy in France. But he ended up riding that race, finished fourth. We all went home. We didn't even ride the race because it didn't count as the main Supercross championship. Yeah, back then it was a weird time. The promoters group was called InSport, and that was all the promoters from around the country had, in collaboration with each other and kind of come up with similar to what Feld does now.
Right.
But then the AMA was trying to decide if they wanted to be promoters or sanctioning bodies. So they were trying to do their own thing, putting their toe in the water, and it just flopped so poorly. Talladega had very limited spectators, if any, very few at all.
Right.
And by the time the Triple Crown, the third one, they just canceled, as you mentioned earlier.
And there was only
two races.
One factory team there, right?
Yeah. Kawasaki was the only team that showed up, and Jeff Ward won. Mark Barnett was testing a new Suzuki that was non-full floater, because many of you historians remember that Suzuki got into a bit of a lawsuit about the full floater. So that was, if you didn't notice, the whoops.
That was not Supercross whoops, was it?
No, not exactly. Those are rollers.
Yeah. So that's another transition that Dirtworks crew made. Rather than building a full set of Supercross whoops where it just gets V'd out, the guys end up playing follow the leader through there. They opted out to build an aggressive set of rollers, which will give the guys, the racers, more of an opportunity to pass and make it better for the fans as well. So I think it's smart that they did that. As you've seen in San Fran, they end up mowing them down halfway through practice, and it's a disaster at that point. So
whoops and torrential rain do not go together.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, I like this actually. They're pretty firm when we walk through there, so I think this is going to be kind of fun. The guys can either wheel hop them or jump them, and we'll see what happens. But that 450 class has been fun. I mean, Jet Lawrence's last win at Daytona did give him a little 10-point separation, but the next three guys I think are only separated by 6 points, right?
Correct.
And
so it's 10 down to second, and then just 3, and then 3 again to third and fourth. So
there's a funny statistic that I saw, and I don't even know how accurate it is, because I saw the same statistics that said Tomac has not led any main events. That's how did he win the one in Anaheim, the Triple Crown? He won one of the mains. I don't know how they count those main events, those Triple Crown mains.
I don't understand.
But my point was that they said Cooper Webb has led 2 laps. Now, is that not counting any Triple Crowns or not? I don't know.
Right.
But they said he's led only 4 laps. I'm sorry, 4 laps, but won twice.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
To only win, to be leading 4 laps.
So you know what they say, you only got to lead the last lap, right?
That's all that matters.
To win. So
coming out of that corner, that Falcon Bowl corner was firm. Other than the little slop coming into it, which the guys will be hopping over,
yep.
they're going to be able to square up pretty hard. I think they're going to be able to. I'm thinking they're going to be able to get up on this table. Or what's your thoughts?
The only reason I think they won't be able to is see how the berm's laid flat a bit, just so it doesn't hold water down in the base of it.
Right.
I don't know if they'll be able to get the drive
okay
out of that bowl corner to get the 3 on, but
if they don't, they're definitely going 2.
Yeah.
They're going to be front siding this table right here. I guess if you call this a second and a third, so it'll be triple in this. And this section of the track is probably the best section that we've come across so far.
Yeah, the most
firm.
And the most Supercross, original Supercross style as well. So so if they can 3 onto this table, it's be huge time difference rather than going double and then triple to here and then triple again. So.
And almost all the jumps to me look like I'd call about 3.5 footers here. Yeah. None of them look like they're 5 footers. They've all kind of toned them down a little bit. But these are nice and firm. So if Mother Nature, if she just goes away, just for a day, we just want to run until about 9 o'clock. You can rain after that, right?
Yeah, and in between this one too, if they can get, that's another thing. If they can get to this one, then it's obviously filled in a bit. They won't get as much air, and same it looks like as the next one as well. Yeah. So if they can just miss the deep pockets, if they're having to double all the way through, it's going to be way faster than dropping in these deep pockets and then getting all the air. Yeah, we have kind of 2 back-to-back sort of camelbacks, swaybacks here. They're not all the way down to the floor, so you're not going to get the lift. So in here, another one. Yeah. Okay, this is the difference between where the seams of the plastic are and where they're not. But luckily, this is not really as wet as it looks. It's actually not terrible for sure.
Firm underneath. So So your hometown is actually outside of Mobile, and then also close, like halfway between that and Pensacola. So you're really a sand guy more than this red clay.
Yeah. So I actually thought there would be more of like a darker clay here than this red clay. This reminds me a lot of Atlanta. So not sure where they got the dirt from for this event, but where I grew up, it's all sand, a lot looser dirt than this. Yep. They're probably wishing they had that dirt at this moment. Well, that's just to soak it up a bit.
Yeah, that little swamp we were talking about getting pushed off into, they're actually doing a really good job of draining it. This is a pretty heavy flow right here. So hopefully the stadium floor has some good drains. I'm sure it does. It's, again, stadium was only built a few years ago.
Brand new, so.
Yep. So that's the one thing here. Now here, my friend, this is not where you want to be coming off of a big triple and landing in. This is some soft stuff right here. They'll, have some more time to work the track. The crew will do what they can, but this is pretty darn soft, and I think it's all the way down. So this is might have to, there you go.
This is where it's going to be tricky too, because if they land where they're draining the other water, they're in kind of the same situation, or if they go over it, they're into the corner where. Well, unfortunately, the front end will not be their friend at that point.
No, but it's nice. They have a little bit of distance before they have to turn. So once you can negotiate that swampy section there, if it's all rutted up, you don't have to turn right immediately and get a little bit of a run up on this single here. Another kind of a very, very similar section from right here, Derek, as the one that we see right on the other side where the Rocky Mountain ATV tough blocks are. This is a typical single table on. And so this is coming into our last section of the track, and where we come on this single out up onto this table, and then hopefully they'll get off out onto the starting line where they're working diligently to get that mud off the outside there. So.
Well, another section the guys have to be careful is where the water is running across at the base of the jumps is how firm the actual jumps are. It's going to dig out and then go straight to hard pack. So it's going to dig out and then form a kicker. Whereas Daytona, the rut would go all the way up the jump, so it's more of a consistent build for the guys. But
very good. So let me ask you another personal question. Are we going to see you at Loretta Lynn's again? You've had another title to defend. You got the 25 plus, and then.
Yep, so that's the plan. I won it in 21 and then again last year. So the plan is to run the number 1 and see if we can go defend it and be representing Dunlop this year, so I'm excited.
Well, we're excited to have you there. So, well, thank you for tuning in right here. That's a lap here at the Birmingham Protective Stadium here. What was a wet one, but we're hoping to have a nice night of racing. And thank you very much for tuning in.